The scene you just watched is from the short film Our Ark, which premiered in 2021. There's a Turkish director in the director's chair, Deniz Tortun. The film begins with the efforts of a company that wants to create a kind of Noah's Ark by making three-dimensional copies of animals. The story extends to those in power who believe that the world is nothing but a simulation, and the virtual world we have started to live in.
There are growing numbers of us who are convinced of this theory. It is becoming a new morality.
Simulation theory is a theory that argues that the reality we live in is actually a computer simulation. According to the theory, as a result of technological advances, advanced civilizations may have the capacity to create simulations of alternative universes. In this short film, the mission of creating alternative universes is taken on by a company called Digital Life Project. There is really such a company in real life. Digital Life Project produces autonomous, 3D characters with social intelligence. The company creates digital models of specific animals using real data. These efforts aim to document and preserve biodiversity. This allows educators and researchers to use these models for scientific and educational purposes. One day, we're talking about backing up animals in case their generations face extinction. It sounds like a crazy idea, doesn't it? Well, let me tell you something crazier. What do you think about the idea of backing up humanity? Actually, this idea isn't new. In 1972, for the first time, a part of ourselves, a human hand, was backed up using computer animation techniques. Edwin Catmull, one of the co-founders of Pixar Animation, one of the most well-known animation production companies today, created a digital copy of his own hand with the help of a computer, and then produced a physical model of it. Although the simulation theory has gained attention in recent years, it was actually first proposed in 2003 by Swedish philosopher Nick Bostrom. In his article, Bostrom focuses on these three possible scenarios. Scenario 1. The likelihood of the human species going extinct before reaching a post-human stage is very high. Scenario 2. It may not be possible for any post-human civilization to design a simulation. And Scenario 3. We are almost certainly living in a computer simulation. This is the most terrifying and the most outrageous option. I'll try to explain why it's outrageous with some data shortly. Let me provide background information on the human brain. Our brain is made up of connection points called synapses. Synapses allow neurons, which are nerve cells, to transmit messages to other neurons or to non-neuronal cells like muscles or glands. This way, the neurons in the central nervous system create a network of nerves that includes neural circuits. So, synapses play an important role in mental functions like perception and thinking in the human brain. Now, let's assume that each interaction between synapses is considered a single operation. Let's assume that our brain processes 100 quadrillion operations per second. To simulate 1 second of human consciousness, we need 10 to the power of 20 operations. But it's not just a single person. Think about all of human history. All of these need to be simulated at the same time. Let's say there are 200 billion people with an average lifespan of 50 years. If we assume there are 30 million seconds in a year, that means 30 million seconds times 50 years times 200 billion people times 10 to the power of 20 operations. So, for this, you need a computer that can perform millions times trillions times trillions times trillions of operations per second. The number resulting from this operation is even greater than the number of stars in the observable universe. So, it's not possible to produce such a computer with current technology. Let's say you've produced it. How can you replicate such a complex organism like the human brain exactly? Those who advocate simulation theory argue using these three assumptions. Assumption 1. Everything in the universe can be simulated. According to this assumption, there is no being in the universe that cannot be simulated based on our current technology and predictions for the future. Assumption 2. Humanity's place in the universe is not special. According to this assumption, in order to prove that we are living in a simulation, humanity should not be in a special position in the universe. As far as we know, we do not have a special place in the universe. Earth is just one of the trillions of planets in a vast emptiness. Assumption 3. This assumption argues that technology is not progressing destructively. This is somewhat debatable because we know that technology has both positive aspects and destructive sides. If these assumptions hold, we might be living in a simulation. Until now, people would have destroyed each other, making the creation of a simulation impossible. So, if you accept these three assumptions, might also think that we are living in a simulation. Look, there are even some of the most popular people in the world among those who believe in this theory.
It would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
You look at our computing power today, and you say, I have the power to program a world inside of a computer. Well, imagine in the future where you have even more power than that, and you can create characters that have, for example, free will.
Those who advocate for this theory present an argument based on strategy games. Think of a strategy game where the maps unlock as you progress through the levels. While you are playing a section, you cannot see other parts of the map. However, as you skip levels, the map opens up and new characters and new locations emerge. Again, according to those who advocate for this theory, this situation can also be applied to the world we live in. For example, you can't see the moment a guest leaves for your house and their journey along the way. However, after a certain amount of time, the guests knock on the door, and you witness them arriving at your home in real time. Unseen things exist. Reality and virtual world blend. 3D models may revive as life forms. Technology has advanced to such a point that can hardly distinguish between reality and the virtual world. It seems that in the future, these 3D models will be downloadable at the push of a button, as if bringing them back to life. But forget about such a utopia. Even the steps we take today to protect the world can harm our planet.
Decades later, we scanned an environment for the first time. An ancient coniferous forest in North America. This was an attempt to preserve the forest. But as the forest was being scanned in North America, wildfires spread across another forest to the south.
You know, those who believe in simulation argue that technology isn't progressing in a destructive way. According to them, if technology were to progress like this, humanity would have already destroyed itself by now. So, is there a guarantee that it won't destroy us after this? As we move towards an unlivable future, we are becoming more and more attached to the virtual worlds we have created. On one hand, our belief that technology will save us is increasing, while on the other hand, our faith in our own reality and responsibilities is decreasing. Forget about ordinary people like you and me. It's even possible to see this in United Nations reports. According to this report, carbon capture technology is heavily relied upon in most scenarios where warming is kept below 1.5 degrees Celsius. However, there is still no concrete data that this technology can be widely used. So even the United Nations reports are relying on a technological infrastructure. It doesn't yet exist. So what about free will, responsibility, and freedom? Can we separate these two concepts from each other? These are two sides of the same coin. By shifting responsibility onto the beings we think are simulating us, we are actually losing something very valuable, our freedom.
Simulationism offers us a solace in the face of paralysis. As we bring our world to ecological catastrophe, we can tell ourselves that we are terminating only one of infinite simulations.
Metaverse, the internet, and the parallel worlds we create, like virtual reality, are increasingly becoming our reality. So all of this could be a defense mechanism we've created without even realizing it. Maybe the simulation theory is an escape point to relieve the burden of many dangers that are driving the world towards the brink, like global warming. However, with this escape, we are also disregarding free will. Yet, thanks to free will, humanity will first learn freedom, and then how to get back up after falling. Every wrong path will bring us one step closer to the right one. Every mistake will make us smarter. So it's not about whether to believe in the simulation theory or not. What's important is to believe in our own reality, our own consciousness, and to take full responsibility right now. If we can't show that courage, we will all continue our lives as puppets. And the strings will never be in our hands.